Okay, so we're in the 12th chapter, devotional service. Today we'll be finishing module 2. That's what we're hoping. Beautiful section where Krishna speaks about the qualities in a devotee that endear one to Krishna, that makes that makes Krishna come closer to the devotees, seeing the qualities or seeing the wonderful personality, yeah, and qualities of the devotee. So let's look at. Here's the flow again in the 12th chapter. The first to the seventh verses, worship of personal form is greater than worship of impersonal Brahman. This is the question that Arjuna asked in the beginning, the first verse of chapter 12. And then Krishna talks about how personal form is greater, that worship is greater. Then 8 to 12 verses, progressive levels of bhakti. If you cannot do this, then you can do this. You cannot do this, then you, the descending order, the ladder that we spoke about. Then 13 to 20th verses, qualities that endear one to Krishna. This is the section that we're in right now. That's when we begin from. So 1 to 7 verses speaks about the mentality. Worship of personal form is greater. So what should be the mentality of the devotee in understanding which form is better to worship? Then how to worship. The activity is described from 8 to 12 verses. And then now the quality of that worship is going to be described. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So let's begin. 13 to 14. Two verses come together. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahamkara samadukha sukha shami santushta satatam yogi yatatma dhridanishchaya maya arpita manu buddhir yo mad bhakta same priya. You can unmute and read the translation.
One who is not envious but is a kind friend of all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The purport is also really beautiful. There are a few lines that I would like to read. Prabhupada says, a devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks, this person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds. So it is better to suffer than to protest. Because when we protest, when we create more reactions, then what happens in the future also, we are sowing the seed where we'll be suffering again. He also says all these qualifications that Krishna is talking about, all these qualities enable one to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. So our goal is never to forget Krishna, always to remember Krishna, never to forget Krishna. So going by all these qualities, yes, we might not be at that stage where we have all of these qualities, but at least we can practice. A good example, if Parmesh Prabhu is here, he had once spoken about how he heard in Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's class, there might be somebody knocking at the door, but it's up to us whether to open it or not, right? So those unwanted guests could be in the form of opposite qualities as described here, but it is up to us whether we act upon them or not. There might be lust, there might be greed, anger, all those things will come for sure according to the circumstances. We're in this material world. We don't have control on how people behave, other people behave. So we might get enticed, we might get succumbed, but we don't, it's going on in our mind, but we don't have to act on it. And the less and less we act upon those negative qualities, the more to that degree they go away. gradually. So let's look at these. Krishna says, Adveshta sarvabhutanam, not envious towards anyone, Maitriya, friendly to all, Karuna evacha, and Nirmamo, kind and merciful to all, Nirmamo, okay, again, free from self, sense of proprietorship, Nirahankara, free from false ego, identification with the body, Sama Dukha Sukha, equal in happiness and distress, and Shami, forgiving and tolerant. Santushta Satatam Yogi, satisfied always in devotional service. Yatatma, self controlled. Dhranishchaya, determined. Mai Arpita Mano Buddhir, mind and intelligence fixed on me. Yo Mad Bhakta Same Priya, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. And we all want to become dear to Krishna, right? Krishna is not partial. When he says, this devotee is very dear to me, we know Krishna is not partial. He is reciprocal. We have spoken about this concept also. Krishna certainly loves all living beings, which include even the sinful ones. But those devotees who reciprocate with him more and more, they attract his attention more and more. They carve a deeper and greater place in Krishna's heart because of their devotion. Anybody who practices devotional service is dear to Krishna, but at the same time, if the devotee also have virtues and these qualities, then that endears one to Krishna all the more. The Lord is careful about his devotee, just as a mother is always careful about her little child who is completely dependent on her care. Devotees depend on Krishna, and by his mercy, they are purified, elevated, and ultimately liberated. We might think, yes, I have so many of these opposite qualities or bad qualities Krishna is talking about. There's so much work I still have to do. But as soon as we take shelter of Krishna, even if those qualities, bad qualities are there, just in that connection with Krishna and his mercy, purification comes. And that's the beauty of bhakti, where we're not so much dependent on our own will and our own what do you call it? Confidence in ourselves. We are more confident in Krishna's mercy. That yes, I have all these bad qualities, but Krishna is there to guide me, to purify me, and ultimately to liberate me. Non-devotees may temporarily have so many good qualities, right? Some good qualities, but those qualities do not sustain since there is no devotional foundation for those qualities. When circumstances change, then their idea of morality may also change. So if you see in the picture, we see so many people, they are tender, they are thoughtful, they're trusting, they're wise, determined, generous, all those qualities may be there, but because they're not devotees, ultimately, when such certain circumstances arise, then that foundation also they succumb, and then their idea of morality also changes. But for devotees, bhakti is the means for sustainable development of good qualities, and these qualities become the innate nature of a devotee. One always behaves according to good cause. So circumstances may change, but he always behaves according to good qualities, understanding that one and part and parcel of Krishna, who is all good. Oh, if somebody can like to read this from the screen.
When we act with virtues, we allow Krishna to act through us, otherwise, we suffer and others also suffer because of us. We should strive to develop the good qualities within the realm of devotional service, and while practicing devotional service, we try to exhibit these qualities as much as possible.
So it's not that we're depending on Krishna. Now Krishna will take care. Till then, yeah, I have these qualities, what to do. Sometimes anger comes and I shout and scream. That's okay, but Krishna is taking care. No, we also have to practice. Yes, we're depending on Krishna, but the more we practice, the more these bad qualities quickly go away. This is from the Shad Goswami Ashtakam, where it is said that they all are these. Well, somebody can read this. We can recite the verse also. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priyo Priya Karo Nirmatsaro Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahanta Karo Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Puja Mataji, would you like to unmute? Oh, Keshav Prabhu, please go ahead. Read
I
the
offer my
translation.
respectful obeisances up to the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jeev Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and dancing. They are just like the ocean of love of God, and they are popular both with the gentle, with the ruffians, and because they are not envious of anyone. Whenever they do, whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone, and they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are engaged in the missionary activities meant to deliver all conditioned soul in the material universe.
Thank you. So we see by the example of and following in the footsteps of our Goswamis, we can also try and inculcate these qualities. Advaishta Sarva Bhutanam, non-envious towards all living beings. One person, one devotee understands that our happiness does not depend on what we have. Our happiness depends on what we do with what we have. Bhakti enables one to engage everything in Krishna's service and thereby experience richer and deeper connection with Krishna, which is the ultimate basis of lasting happiness in life. And this reminds me of the story of, okay, who can tell us the name of the devotee where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a child used to go to buy banana leaves?
I used to go to Pulaveksha Sridhar every time, and they were so cheap, those banana leaves, but he would still bargain with him. And then he would come to, because he couldn't refuse Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed this Prakash Leela, he asked that Pulaveksha Sridhar, and he came, he said, I am giving something to everybody, you also ask. He said, I want to be that banana leaf seller all my life, and I want you to come and do the bargaining with me.
So beautiful, right? So whatever Kolavecha Sridhar had, it wasn't that he wanted more and more. Whatever he had, the way he engaged everything in Krishna's service, the half of what he used to get used to offer to Ganga, right? Ganga Mayas in her service. And the remaining, whatever, his requirement was in life. So our happiness does not depend on how much we have, but however much we have, how we're using that. That is how our happiness is. That is what our happiness is based on. Maitra Karuna Ivacha, friendly and kind, a compassionate friend to everyone. Being children of the same Supreme Lord, a devotee understands that we all are related as part of Krishna's family. That's how one is a well-wishing and merciful friend of all living beings. So not just my family, not just my friends, I'm attached to everyone, all living beings, because they are all part of Krishna's family. Prabhupada says, Pandita, those who are actually learned, the equipoised, advanced devotees who have full knowledge of everything do not see any living entity as an enemy or friend. Instead, with broader vision, they see that everyone is part of Krishna, as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Swarupoe Krishnera Nityadas. Nirmamo Nirahankara, with no sense of proprietorship and without false ego. Baldev Vidyabhushan. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays, "My dear Lord, I am yours and you are mine. What other wealth do I need?" So a devotee becomes free from possessive mentality by understanding he has the supreme possession, and that possession is Krishna himself. Sama dukkha sukha, equal in happiness and distress. To the extent we don't have a strong devotional connection, to that extent material ups and downs shake us. One either becomes jubilant or despondent. But if one's vision is fixed on Krishna, then one's fulfillment comes from that strong connection, relationship with Krishna. So material possessions in the picture you can see could be a $5 note, but spiritual wealth is so much you can't even count. So if in one hand we have that much, so many notes of these $100, like a big bundle, and the other hand we have $1 or $5 or rupees, if you want to compare, and you're walking and that $1 falls down, you won't even care so much, right? So that's how in material life ups and downs happen, but we don't care so much because we have the wealth of Krishna Bhakti. One understands that everything material is anyway temporary, and from the point of view of soul's eternal happiness, the pleasure and pains of this world are temporary. Shami, he's forgiving. A devotee forgives the offense before the offense is over. So if somebody is, even in their words, if they're trying to hurt us through their words or behind our back, and we get to know, even while that offense is happening, a devotee does not even take it as offense and has forgiven even before that offense is over. Santushta Satatam Yogi, always satisfied. He delights in his internal connection with Krishna through Bhakti Yoga, and that's why he does not bother too much about worldly things. Satisfied in his service to Krishna because that's all he wants and that's all he needs. Yatatma Dhranishchaya, self-controlled and strongly determined. He is, let's have somebody read this. You can unmute and read.
Srila Prabhupada, he's a completely perfect mystic because he is fixed in the instructions received from the spiritual master, and because his senses are controlled, he is determined. He is not swayed by false arguments because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And here we see in the picture the pastime of Haridas Thakur and how he was always strongly determined, whatever circumstances, he was never swayed by any external or even internal. He was always totally fixed in his devotional service. Mai arpita mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priya. So Prabhupada says, this is in the purport. Let's have somebody read this.
Srila Prabhupada, all these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotional service is undoubtedly very rare, but a devotee becomes situated in that stage by following the regulative principles of devotional service. Furthermore, the Lord says that such a devotee is very dear to him, for the Lord is always pleased with all his activities in full Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. These qualities and qualifications also help in fixing the mind and intelligence entirely on the Lord. Let's keep going. 12.15. Anybody wants to say anything or any comments, reflections from the previous verse? Or if you wanted to add something? Okay, then let's keep going. 12.15. Yasmano dvijate loko lokano dvijate chaya harshamarsha bhayo tvaikir mukto yasam chame priya. You can unmute and read.
He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Bhagavad Gita 12.15. Hare Krishna.
So Yasmano dvijate loko, by whom people are not disturbed. So I don't want to be the one causing disturbance in other people's minds and lives. Loka no dvijate chaya, and who is not disturbed by other people. Harsha, amarsha, bhayo dvaigir. So harsha is happiness, marsha is distress, bhaya is fear, udvega is anxiety. So these emotions, they agitate the mind, right? So a person who is in devotional service, he's equipoised, he doesn't get too much distress, too much elated in any circumstance. So let's look at these. Yasman no dujite loko, not agitated by, no one is agitated by him. He's not agitated by anyone. In joy and distress, fear and anxiety, he's equipoised. Krishna says, such a me priya. He's again and again in all these verses bringing this point that such a devotee is very dear to me, who has all these qualities. So harsha, happiness, amarsha is distress, bhaya, and then fear, udvega is anxiety. People in general are living lifestyle which are contrary to the conception of Krishna consciousness and are thus puppets under the modes of material nature. A devotee does not disturb them but tries to encourage them to practice devotional service. So we don't also want to disturb the minds of the non-devotees. But we just want to, Prabhupada used to say, just encourage them from wherever they are. A devotee is steady in all circumstances. Only when one is purely and strongly connected with Krishna can one make oneself a puppet in the hands of Krishna. So many people back in India, they've translated the Bhagavad Gita, but how many, they might be very intriguing to read, they might be very interesting, but how many of those translations have changed the heart of people around? Not any, maybe, not many, not any. In this, what I feel, because the purity of the heart which Prabhupada had, and with that, when he translated and people read, their hearts were changed. And that's how he was. He used to say, right, in that cargo ship, he said, just make me a puppet so that I can dance by your instructions. Here is an example how a doctor knows what problem a patient has, what disease and what precautions and what treatment should be given. A nurse might know, might not know, but if she just follows the doctor, she will understand completely and she will also become capable of treating. So nurse may not know all the details of every patient's case history, but if he or she just learns from the doctor all the precautions that need to be taken while treating a patient, then one is able to take care of the patient quite well. Similarly, a devotee acts on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Hence, being compassionate and merciful is fully capable of treating the diseased materialists and thus not considered an enemy. Choose Krishna as your supreme mentor, friend, love, and everything, and change all of your sorrows into happiness. Okay, 12.16. Any comments on this verse? Going back. Any reflections, any comments? Okay, let's keep going. If you remember anything or you want to share a pastime where you think, such a devotee possessed these qualities, we can quickly go over. Okay, so let's come to 12.16. Anapeksha shuchirdaksha udasino gatavyataha sarvarambha parityagi yo mad bhaktaha same priyaha.
A devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and who does not strive for some result, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So anapeksha, shuchir, daksha. So let's look at all of these one at a time. Anapeksha is neutral, devoid of any expectations. So apeksha is partiality. Anapeksha is impartial. So he's not impartial. I mean, he is impartial. He's not partial. He's devoid of any expectations. He's shuchir. He is pure and clean. He's daksha. He's expert and skillful. Udasino, without cares. He's unattached. Gatavyata is free from all pains, all designations. Sarvarambha parityagi, free from all material endeavors. Yo mad bhakta same priya. Again, Krishna says, such a devotee is very dear to me. So Shuchi, Prabhupada used to chant this verse before initiation ceremony. So does our Guru Maharaj also. Many of Maharajas, they chant this verse because this brings purity. Even when we're taking a bath in the morning, we can recite this verse. And most of us know it. Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastam gatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sabhayabhyantara shuchi Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Both pure and impure, passing through conditions of material life. If one remembers the lotus-eyed Lord, then one becomes externally and internally clean. So not that we don't take a bath and just recite this verse. We do take our bath. We do want to be clean internally and externally. Internally by keeping our emotions and our qualities clean, our character clean, and externally by taking a bath. Daksha is expert and skillful, and we see how Prabhupada himself was so skillful, such an expert in everything he did, in singing, in writing, translating, in talking, in cooking, in talking to people, and encouraging them, making them devotees. So many qualities. His cooking qualities also, if you've heard, I think it was one Mataji who was making kachoris, and Prabhupada really liked them. And he ate one just standing while she was cooking and she was frying and keeping it aside. Prabhupada was right there in the kitchen and he was picking up and eating one at a time. They were really hot, and she was like inside, she was thinking, oh, Prabhupada likes my cooking so much. He's eating and eating, and she asked him, Prabhupada, who is your favorite cook? And she was expecting, you cook so nicely. And Prabhupada said, myself, me, myself. He was an expert cook. Okay. Udasino, without cares and unattached, not attached to anything material. And we see our Goswamis, they were super without cares, right? Whether there is a roof on top of their head or not, it doesn't matter. They can live under a different tree every day. Gatavyata, free from all pains, he has given up all designations and lamentation. Sarvarambha parityagi, free from all material endeavors. He has given up all selfish endeavors. Ultimately, in spiritual life, it is a journey from selfishness to supreme selflessness and absorption in pure service to Krishna. To the degree we are unattached, we are selfless, we can understand, yes, there is some progress. But a devotee is such, he always feels, I don't have any good qualities, right? And that's when we read the beautiful bhajans, the poems written by our Goswamis and other acharyas. We see how humble they are. Even if they have all best of qualities, still they know I have no good qualities. .17 यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभा परित्यागी भक्तिमान् यः स मे प्रियः. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. Sa me priya. Before this also, sa me priya. Cha me priya. And then the 13th and 14th, sa me priya. So, Sa me priya and Cha me priya. That devotee also is, kindly mute yourself. I'm sorry. Is Ya no hrishati na dveshti, neither rejoices nor grieves. Na shochati na kankshati, neither laments nor desires. Shubha ashubha parityagi, renounces all auspicious and inauspicious things. Bhaktiman ya same priya, such a devotee is very dear to me. So, Shubha ashubha parityagi, renounces all auspicious and inauspicious things. One understands that actually that everything here is temporary, hence both Shubh and Ashubh are undesirable. Whatever happens, one can always find an opportunity to serve Krishna. We might think this circumstance is very inauspicious, but in the end, even what we feel is auspicious is inauspicious only because it's making us more attached to this material world. One time in our yatra, many years ago, I heard this Gaurang Prabhu's lecture. He said, one time in a yatra, they were in Vrindavan, and you know how they take different teams, they make groups, and they take them to different pastime places. So one of the teams or groups were going to Yamuna to take a bath there, dip in the Yamuna. And there's always a leader who speaks about the place, pastime place, and talks about it. So he was talking about the glories of Yamuna Maya, and he said, whoever takes a dip in Yamuna gets rid of all his good reactions and bad reactions. So bad reactions also, but good reactions also, and some people started coming out. He was mentioning, he was laughing. I don't want to get rid of my punya. He was saying, people were thinking like this. But again, having punya means we have to go to heavenly planets, then come back on earth. So punya is also inauspicious. So what is auspicious ultimately is our service to Krishna, where we accumulate a karma where there is no riyai. A karma is of two types. Let's see, a little quiz. There's how many types of karmas are there? Sukarma, vikarma, akarma, right? So, but sukarma, we know good. We do good and then we get good reactions. Vikarma, we do bad, get bad reactions. But akarma has two meanings. Who can talk about that a little bit? Anybody? Somebody? Akarma?
Mataji, I'll give it a try. I think karma was one also where you gave the example of supposing a doctor or someone whose responsibility is to do that, but they don't do it, which also becomes like a vikarma because your inaction actually was like a choice and you didn't do action, something on those lines. And one is a karma, whatever it is, this is not mine and everything is offered. So the good or the bad, nothing comes to me. So those are the two types of a karma.
Wonderful, yes. One akarma where we don't do our responsibility, a karma. We don't do it, but we do get a reaction, just like a doctor or a cop, like a policeman. He's standing across the intersection and there is a robbery going on, and he doesn't do anything about it, looks the other way because one of the gang members is his far off relative. Let me just ignore and look the other way. And next day, he's caught on camera that he was there, he didn't do anything. So but he doesn't know. So next day he's called and he's suspended, and he's like, I didn't do anything. Yes, because you didn't do anything, you are suspended. So that is a karma. The other karma is when we are engaged in in devotional practice, when we cook and serve to Krishna, that one example I'm giving, and that prasad we honor, there is no karma in there. So it is a karma. Whatever activities we do in connection with Krishna, there is no reaction to those. So that is also a karma. Prabhupada says in the purport, he is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of his devotional service. Such a devotee is very dear to Krishna. Okay, next to 18th and 19th. Samashatros cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoh shitoshna sukha dukkeshu samasanga vivarjitah tulyanindastu tirmoni santushto yena kenachit aniketastitarmatir bhaktiman me priyo narah. Who would like to read?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me,
There's a
Mataji?
lot of background noise. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Can you
Hare
hear
Krishna.
Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead. You can translate. You can
One
read
who
it.
is equal to the friends and enemies, who is equipoised in the honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in the knowledge and who is engaged in devotion service. Such a person is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So sama shatrocha mitrecha, equal to friends and enemies. Tatha mana pamanayo, equipoised in all dualities, honor and dishonor. We've seen this many times. If people or friends are very, they're giving us good, what do you call it? They always are nice to us and we're happy in their association. But sometimes when people are trying to bring ill fame, it could be, it could be their nature where people are condescending. It could be their swabhav, but we have to show by example, our example, that we have to be equipoised. Whether somebody is trying to honor us or dishonor us, let us behave in a way that Krishna is expecting his dear devotee to behave. So whether there is honor or whether there is dishonor, be equipoised in both. Shitoshna sukha dukkeshu, whether there is heat and cold, happiness and distress. So Shita, also it is said that when there is distress, then we feel heated, right? Our heart feels heavy and there is heat. We also, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, when Arjun was distressed, he said, in me, it feels like I'm burning up. So because of distress, this happens. So that's why Krishna is comparing heat and cold with happiness and distress. Sama. So when there is heat and cold, we are also equipoised, right? Similarly, in happiness and distress, we should show our you should also be equipoised. Sama sanga vivarjita, always free from contaminating association. Tulya ninda stutirmoni, equal in criticism and praise. Santushto yena kenachit, satisfied with whatever comes of its own accord. Aniketa, doesn't care for any residence. Steady in mind, fixed in knowledge, is sthitamatir, bhaktiman, me priyo nara. Such a devotee is very dear to me. So santushta yena kenachit, satisfied with whatever comes of its own accord. Can somebody read this? Kamlavati Mataji, would you like to read? You can unmute.
One is satisfied with whatever situation he gets because he understands that he is not in that situation. He is situated in his connection with Krishna. And that connection is the basis of supreme fulfillment. Hare Krishna.
So whatever situation comes, it could be our boss being super angry with us, this. Yes, we face the situation, but we are also above it because we know our connection with Krishna is giving me that fulfillment. So whatever happens around it could be arguments with our family members, kids are not listening to us, they're behaving in a way that we never expected. Yes, we have to deal with the situation, but internally we have to be detached, knowing that this is not what I'm here for. Yes, I'm here to take care of them, but there is a deeper fulfillment and connection with Krishna, and that's where we bring or we root ourselves, we anchor ourselves in that satisfaction and love of Krishna, where we are finding our fulfillment, and that's how other situations don't drag us towards those extremes of being super distressed or even depressed or even super elated where we're jumping with joy. A devotee is always equipoised, and even if he's not always, even if he's trying to, Krishna says such a devotee is very dear to me. Aniketa doesn't care for any residence. Sthitamati is steady in mind and fixed in knowledge, and such a devotee is very dear to me. Devotees may not have a fixed residence. He already has an inner home, one's remembrance of Krishna. One can always remember Krishna anywhere he is, whether he has a house or not, whether he is living in a railway station, wherever, under a tree or wherever. That remembrance of Krishna brings that fixity in him. The last verse, 12.20. Ye tu dharmamritam idam yatoktam paryupasate shraddhadhana mat parama bhaktaste tiva me priya. Who would like to
Those
read?
who follow, Hare Krishna Mataji. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Hare
So
Krishna.
this time Krishna says, Bhaktas te tiva me priya. So te tiva meaning te is they, ativa is very, very dear to me. So those who, sorry, those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service, this path meaning inculcating all these qualities and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Mat Parama, Shraddha Dhana Mat Parama. So with faith, they take me as their supreme goal, or they make me as their supreme goal. Those are very dear to me. Prabhupada says in the purport in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulated principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in transcendental service of the Lord. In the beginning, when our temple president came home, and he was talking about, becoming a devotee of Krishna, and I was very new. I didn't know anything about practicing devotional service. So he was giving a talk in our house, and I raised my hand and said, "How can I become a devotee?" And he said, "Just come to the temple." And then I had another question. He said, "Just come to the temple." So now I realize why he was asking me to come to the temple regularly, because when we get association of other devotees, then all these good qualities can develop, which I'm still working on, still haven't developed, still I'm trying to, but this is so important when we get good associates. If you think about it, you're talking to someone and that person suddenly starts to whisper. And you're talking and he's answering in whispers. It's very natural that you'll also start talking softly, because whatever the situation, it's so natural, right? So whatever the other person is doing, you follow that. It is very natural. Even in book distribution, Vaisheshika Maharaj, whenever he used to do a seminar, he would say, when you're talking to the person, just in your conversation, you just do this. You just hand the book like this. And it's natural, the other person, because you're handing something, his hand will come out and he'll take it. But if you say, would you like to take this book? He'll say, I'll think about it, But just while talking, just go like this and he'll take it, because naturally the hand goes forward and he will take it. So it's very natural. Whoever we associate with, their beautiful qualities also we inculcate. Sorry. Krishna used the words Mad Bhakta and Bhaktiman, person who has devotion unto him. So such devotion is the most important quality in a devotee, which is the Swarup Lakshan. And all the remaining qualities mentioned are his secondary qualities, which are the Tashta Lakshan. So Swarup Lakshan is his most important quality, where he is where a person has devotion for Krishna, and all the other qualities follow. And we're going to watch this beautiful video of Prabhupada with the bhajan, O He Vaishnav Thakur, and we see how Prabhupada had all these good qualities. The more we just look at a devotee, the more we get purified, right? It is said that you go to a tirtha and you get purified, but when you see a devotee who is carrying all these tirthas, right? Because he has Krishna within his heart. So just by seeing a devotee, we get purified. So let's watch Prabhupada. You can hear it.
O He Vaishnav Thakur, Yara Saguru, Rase Guru. O He Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kari. Diyapada Chaya Sodohe Amaya. Diyapada Chaya Sodohe Amaya. Diyapada Chaya Sodohe Amaya. Tomara Charana Dhore. Tomara Charana Dhore. Chaya Vegadomi, Chaya Doshashodi, Chaya Guna Dehodase. Chaya Vegadomi, Chaya Doshashodi, Chaya Guna Dehodase. Chaya Guna Dehodase. Satsanga Deho He Amare, Chaya Satsanga Deho He Amare, Chaya Satsanga Deho He Amare, Oshechi Sangero Ashe. Hari Nam Sankirtan. হরিনাম সংকীর্তনে তুমি কৃপা করে সদা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি কৃপা করে সদা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি কৃপা করি সদা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম দানে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে Krishna se tomara Krishna dite para tomara sakati ache
Krishna se tomara Krishna dite paro tomara shakati ache
Amito Ganga Krishna Krishna boli
Amito Ganga Krishna Krishna boli
Amito Ganga Krishna Krishna boli Daitava pache pache Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakura Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Ohe Vaishnava Sagara Edase Sagara Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Edase Karuna Kori
Stop there. Prabhupada's disciples used to ask him what was our qualification. We didn't even know who Krishna was.